There was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people. See if they could become something more.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Tribe. We are a group of excited and passionate individuals who have come together to share our love of all things Marvel. We are brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.com. Today, it's just David and Sam again, but that's okay because we're ready to bring it.
Absolutely.
From the big screen to the small print, feel the pulse in your chest so you know you're alive. One team, one love.
It's the Marvel Tribe.
Yes.
Man, yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad we get to kind of have a little mid break in between and stuff because life happens and stuff, and so we do this out of a labor of love. So
Yes,
this is a good, every 2 weeks we get to recap on a couple episodes and talk about other going-ons in the Marvel universe.
Speaking of other going-ons, obviously you saw Shang-Chi.
Yes, I saw it on opening night. So I PPE'd up, got my mask, my sanitizer, make sure our seats, which were assigned, we had the proper distances from other people, and I got to enjoy the movie. And man, I loved it. This is, phase 4 is in full effect. And you saw it too as well.
I did, yeah. I went that Sunday after at 3 p.m., which nobody goes to the movies at 3 p.m. So theater was pretty empty. Mm-hmm. But it amazes me, even after all this time, what Marvel is capable of doing in a 1-minute post-credit scene.
Oh man, absolutely. I had so many spoiler alert. If you have not seen it, go see it. Hit pause on this podcast, come back to it later, put in your favorites, go watch the movie, and then come back and tune in. You've been warned. So you're 100% right. In a 1-minute post-credit scene, they covered so much. There were some really cool reveals and some mind-blowing twists that I'm assuming they're going to explain as season 4 kind of unveil itself. And one of the biggest, for me, the mysteries in the mid-credit, I know we're fast-tracking over the whole movie, but was Dr. Banner. He's not Professor Hulk anymore.
I know that hurt your heart a little bit.
It did, but it also made me ask some questions and stuff because there's two questions that's rolling around my mind here. So one, are we really about to get a storyline where possibly Hulk the mantle of Hulk gets passed? And we've seen that when Amadeus Cho, it happens. He actually gets Hulk's powers and he becomes totally awesome Hulk. And we have She-Hulk, which we know Amadeus Cho is a part of that comic run too. We also, there's a possibility that they could be setting up for Maestro, which for those who don't know, he's kind of a combination of Professor Hulk, but he's less Banner, more intelligent version of the angry Hulk monster and stuff. So I know we like to kind of think that they're kind of the same character, but they really aren't. I mean, Thor Ragnarok, you really got to see Hulk's personality, which is very different from Banner, even though they share the same space and body. It just transformed, but Hulk is his own thing. And as Hulk gets the years Hulk be Hulk, he becomes more smarter and more intelligent. He becomes more and more his intellect like Banner, but he still maintains Hulk. So I'm curious if maybe Banner saw something or anything. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what that reveals. So are we going to get a Maestro? Or are we going to get Amadeus Cho or what? So I'm excited either way. So
yeah, that was the mid-roll credit scene.
Yes,
before we get to that post-credit scene, let's talk about our impressions for the rest of the movie because it was amazing.
It was from the get-go. I mean, we have Shang-Chi who went by the alias of Shawn. I love the joke, the inside joke that the character played by Awkwafina made about that. You know, the mind logic on
She's so mad.
changing your name from Shang-Chi to Shawn. It's oh man, the exercise it took to do that. You know, like me going from Dave to David. But anyway, it was amazing. I love how the storyline kind of tracked. I love the fight scenes. Like, oh my god. They brought on some really amazing fight choreographers and stuff who worked on films like John Wick and stuff. Amazing director. The cinematography was good. I enjoyed the CGI, but here's the thing: I have friends who they're CGI snobs. They that's just the way they are. They won't admit that, but they are. They look at things that
they might be listening, David.
I don't care. They'll call me or they'll shoot me a text after, but they'll look at things and like they're really into practical effects, which is fine. I get that. I love the fact that you figure out how to make some movie magic with practical effects, but sometimes it calls for CGI. Can't make a dragon with practical effects and not end up with like the dragon Falcor from Neverending Stories. So you have to use CGI for a lot of things and stuff, and then that's what Marvel does. And their technology gets better and better, and that's just the world we live in. So accept it, CGI snobs. But the fight scene on the bus for me was epic because that was the big reveal of who Shang-Chi was, and you know we get our first real glimpse of the Order of the Ten Rings and how badass the Mandarin son is. So here's some retcon. Just so everyone out there knows. So that we heard about the name the Mandarin from the original from Iron Man. Iron Man was kidnapped by the Mandarin and the Mandarin and by the Ten Rings. And then in Iron Man 3, there was this persona that was created. And there's this mythical boss called the Mandarin, was the leader of those Ten Rings and stuff, and which was also played by what's Kingsley's first name?
Isaac. Is it Isaac?
No, Sir Kingsley, because he's been knighted. So Sir Kingsley played this actor who Ben Kingsley. Ben, thank you. Yes, Ben Kingsley. He played the actor who took on the role of being this mobster mythical figure called the Mandarin and stuff, where the name was actually just made up. Now in the comic books, it's actually a real name, but there was a lot of things in the comic books that just don't hold the test of time. It's just the way we are, the culture and everything else. You can't have a villain named Fu Manchu. You can't use phrases like Oriental. You should not do that. I'm not saying you can't, you shouldn't. And so Marvel is very, aware of their history.
They try to be politically correct.
Yeah. And they don't run from their history and stuff, but they also, if there's things that needs to be changed and they know they don't stand the test of time, they're going to change it. So there's no Fu Manchu. Mandarin, they made fun of it, which I love how Shang-Chi's father talked about it, how, this mythical, boss instilled fear, and he's named after a freaking fruit. Yeah, a piece of food. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was great how he went into the whole your name is everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Which made it even funnier that Shang-Chi went by Shawn.
Yes. So, but I love the character. I love Awkwafina in the supporting role. The sister,
Shaolin.
Oh my God, she's amazing. My daughter, she wants to actually dress up as her for Halloween. That's how much of an impact that was. So yeah, she's amazing. And I think the storyline is I loved where it went. I think Shang-Chi is going to be very instrumental in Marvel going forward. You cannot have a guy like that with that level of power not be a force to be reckoned with, not be a force that's a part of the Avengers or any semblance of what ensemble of what that looks like and stuff. So I'm super excited. And those 10 rings, there's so many. we talk about
I
Easter
love
eggs
the
and
way
stuff.
that he got the rings, though, because
Yes.
I was going into it thinking we're going to see this awful battle between him and his dad, and like that's not really what happened. Like,
No, I mean,
like it was definitely like his dad had that moment of reckoning at the end,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Okay, like you need
No,
to do what's right."
100%. You know, dad grew up with a certain set of values, and I'm not defending him because those values are outdated and stuff.
Mhm.
And so that's why sister never got trained and everything else. And he was a tyrant. He wanted to, power was his absolute. And sometimes
And he was dealing with tons of trauma, though, too.
Yes, he was. And he knew through violence he can instill and solidify that power. So, you know, in that fear. So he used the weapon that he had to do so. And then when he had the 10 rings, he learned to master that persona, that fear, grow his empire and stuff. And I absolutely love the fact that they don't really explain where the rings came from, because it really opens up to some really cool, interesting theories and stuff, including one I had of my own that kind of starting to take off a little bit. That, you know, we have 10 rings. You know, the original in the comic books, the rings were found on the alien spaceship and stuff. And you can look at the rings and the power base that the rings have. It glows with this kind of golden glow and stuff. And what other entity that produces those golden glow powers and stuff? In my opinion, it's the Eternals, and
Yes, which we have coming.
Yes. And so, you know, we have an Eternal who makes these weapons that produces that glow. There's 10 Eternals. There's 10 rings. The rings were found on the spaceship. There's an Eternal spaceship and stuff that with the same markings and everything else. So I believe that he found the father got these rings from the Eternal spaceship somehow, some way. That's my opinion. That's where I'm going with.
I love that. I would love to see that, David. So we've talked about the sister, Shaolin, I think was her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
That post-credit scene, do we have a new villain?
Here's what I think. I think we have what may be an anti-hero. We have a person who's going to be working out some issues, some you know, real valid daddy issues and stuff. I don't think she's looking to pick up the mantle, because she didn't revere her father that way, but she is looking to do her own thing. And with that, she's not a person of pure heart. You know, she ran away from home when she was 13 or 15 and started her own fight club, illegal gambling ring. And, you know, you had Wong and Abomination fighting in her fight ring and stuff, that empire she built. So she's not pure of heart. She's not trying to, you know, but she's also not evil. She's not trying to be this dominant force.
Kind of vibes I got. I got Killmonger vibes.
Yes. No, that's actually, I was looking for the best way to describe that to the audience that they could actually relate. That 100%, Sam. Killmonger, I think, is exactly how I would position her. She, you know, you can understand why she is the way she is and stuff, and you can also understand if she's put in certain positions and stuff, she may not do the right thing, but for the most part, she can and capable and probably will do the right thing if it benefits her and stuff.
And she's very self-serving.
Very much so. Absolutely.
So
she's a woman you cannot.
What's to come from her. We're not done. Obviously, we saw that post-credit scene, so we're not done with her. So I can't wait.
Oh no! I mean, she's a woman that if you tell her, you know, there's a glass ceiling, she will look at you and laugh and says, "Yeah, that doesn't apply to me."
Watch me break it.
Exactly. Just go ahead and don't blink while I break this glass ceiling. You telling me I can't do anything or what I can do and stuff. So I think her bond with her brother is going to kind of either. So here's my prediction: she's either going to get recruited by by the Dark Avengers, or Valentina. She's very.
I forgot about Valentina for a second.
Yeah, she's very Nick Fury, and so she may get talked to because she's a woman of connections and extraordinary means now, and amazing resources and power. She's a force to be reckoned with. So it makes sense for Valentina to come and try to recruit her, and she may be that final linchpin that kind of helps bring this all together. I mean, they have a amazing hideout. I mean, you can't get better than what the 10 Rings Shogun is. So yeah, I think we're going to see Valentina and her in the future as well too. So it was great. I loved it. It yeah. I can't.
Definitely worth seeing in theaters.
Absolutely. The fight scenes were amazingly choreographed. Big respects to Simulu, who he when they started floating around, they're gonna bring Shang-Chi to the big screen. He sent out that tweet to Marvel, and Marvel didn't see it. He already admitted to that in the interview and stuff, but it just kind of just works out. He put it out in the universe that, hey, we need to talk, and then next thing you know, he's starring in this role. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna be coming forth out of this and stuff. So it's a great movie. I'm trying not to spoil a lot of things, but it's worth seeing and stuff.
And stay for the if you haven't seen it yet, stay for the mid-roll credit and post-credit scenes.
Yes, stay. You will have questions and you would be like, oh, wow, okay.
So how did you feel? One more question before we move on.
Sure.
What was your reaction to seeing Wong?
So I love
not
Wong.
just once though. Like
Wong is, I think, is our new Coulson. He's going to be peppered throughout the Marvel universe. He's our guy. He's going to be our little navigator. Coulson. He popped up here and there, and he added that continuity and stuff that we just so kind of really needed in a world that was so vast. I think Wong's going to be that guy for us. He's going to replace Coulson. He's going to do a pretty good job doing that. So, but seeing him fight the Abomination in that fight club and stuff, I'm like, it was kind of cool. It was, and I won't spoil it. Obviously, we're here. I could, but because it was kind of really cool how that ended and stuff, and it was shocking what happened after and stuff. But yeah, so I'm curious about that storyline and how there's some more. There are some questions that need to be answered after that fight scene, and
there are always questions they leave us to be answered.
Yes, and there's some stuff that happens between Abomination and Wong outside of the ring that absolutely needs to be answered and stuff, and I'm here for it. So, what about you? What do you think of Wong?
I thought it. Like, I don't know. Obviously when I think of him, I think of Doctor Strange. So I'm like, okay, so when we saw that post-credit scene, I just thought it was like funny to see him in the ring with Abomination. But that the mid-roll credit scene, I was like, what are they going to do? And what does it have to do with the Sorcerer Supreme? It is all tying together right now. And there's so many different ways that it can go. And I literally cannot wait anymore. It's driving me crazy. I'm just ready to see the next Doctor Strange movie. Like, I need to see it right now. Absolutely.
And those rings that, they discovered that there's it's calling to something. There's a beacon on those rings. Which,
so kind of like Wanda's or Agatha's book they have, what's it called?
The Darkhold.
The Darkhold.
Yeah, it's something. It's calling to something to come fetch its rings or powers, and so I'm of the belief the Eternals are going to be very integral to the Marvel universe. They don't hype it up to be that way. They kind of almost sell the movie as a standalone movie. And it's just the way they roll the credits and stuff. There's people aren't looking at it to find the connections. They're looking at it to find the storyline of the
people weren't doing that with Shang-Chi either, though.
No, yeah, it's true.
They thought this is going to be a standalone story.
Thing. Yeah, not really connected, but kind of like an origin.
Everything right now in the MCU is correct. Connected.
Yes, Phase 4 has begun, so you cannot look at a movie and not think connectivity and stuff. And I think we're going to see that with Eternals. I think that the ring that is calling, that beacon and stuff, we're going to see after the snapping, that power shift that woke something up in the planet that is requiring the Eternals to actually help out and interfere like they weren't able to before. has something to do with that ring and something to do with whatever that beacon is calling and stuff. So we'll see how that plays out.
Hey, David, I have to go help my husband with something really quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. I'll take over here. So let's talk about why Sam hates Spider-Man. No, I'm not going to talk about it. Actually, we can talk about how that's going to actually play out. So I'm super juiced about Spider-Man. They obviously released a trailer a couple weeks ago, and boy, man, was I was not disappointed. Now, there's always the fan theory, that's been going around for almost over a year or so that there's going to be 3 Spider-Mans in there. I believe there may be. There's some proof, I think, in the trailer that actually speaks to that there might be another Spider-Man that we've already experienced before. And I believe that happens when we get introduced to Doc Ock, on the bridge where Spider-Man, I think they did some creative editing for the trailer. So we see, a picture of Peter Parker transforming into Spider-Man, the Tom Holland version, and then it cuts, which I think is not a congruent scene. It's a different scene of Doc Ock walking out of the shadows saying, "Hello, Peter." So we know a few things here, that Doc Ock is not a part of the our Marvel Cinematic Universe. So he's definitely from the Sam Raimi universe. And his Peter was none other than Tobey Maguire. So, it makes no sense for Doc Ock to know that Tom Holland is Peter Parker. Now, they could, obviously they can write it a whole bunch of different ways and do all kinds of things. So maybe they've met earlier and stuff or what have you. But I really sincerely believe that Doc Ock, when he says "Hello, Peter" on that bridge, he is talking to the Tobey Maguire version of Peter Parker. Now, if I was Marvel Studios and Sony, there's no way I will validate anybody's theories on that. I wouldn't. I would save that for the big screen. In fact, I would go so far as to make sure that the actors deny it until it comes out in theaters and stuff, because it's a really cool and interesting surprise. It really kind of talks about the variants and the multiverse and everything else that is going to be playing out in Phase 4. And boy, what a cool little reveal on how they would reveal it. And here's the thing: it's not their job to reveal everything in the trailers. In fact, they're known to do some misdirects and some gotcha moments or psych outs and stuff. They did that with the Incredible Hulk when they did the Endgame trailer. We see Hulk running down into battle with the rest of the Avengers and stuff, and the thing is, we never saw that actually happened in Infinity Wars. I'm sorry, not Endgame, in Infinity Wars. So, it was Bruce Banner because Hulk refused to appear in the Hulk Buster suit. So it was completely a fake out, and it, say what you want about it, but that's what that was. So I think, this was very purposefully edited, the Spider-Man trailer, and I'm here for it. Can't wait to see it. Hopefully things get better so I don't have to be so PPE up to go see it, but I'll do what I gotta do to make sure I support my Marvel hobby and my passion, and make sure my dollars go to supporting good movies made by Marvel. And so I'll definitely do my part and stuff, and I'll do it safe and I'll do it secure. So with that said, we're 20 minutes into here, and I'm gonna wait for Sam to get back, but we are going to be talking about the What If episodes. So we're covering 2 episodes. I think we're covering episode 4, which is the evil Doctor Strange, and episode number 5, which is Marvel Zombies. If you guys have not read the comic book Marvel Zombies, in any of the story arcs on that, I urge you to read it if you like that kind of comic book horror, because there's some what we saw was pretty mild compared to the comic books and stuff. I mean, we really saw the things that, with Reed Richards from Fantastic Four and children being eaten and everything else. I mean, we can go on for days about the way the comic book arc runs, but they did a pretty good job, and the premise is probably the scariest versions of zombies you would ever see. I mean, I thought, we had World War Z zombies were pretty frightening, the zombies that go full tilt, but imagine superhero zombies. These are zombies that have retained their superhero powers. Yeah, that's a scary genre in itself. So that's a universe I want nothing to do with and stuff. So, but we got Sam coming back. So those are the 2 episodes we're going to kind of just go over with you guys. And so we're going to jump into Doctor Strange, the evil Doctor Strange. And in the what if fashion, it starts with a simple choice. And here it actually explains what is called an absolute point. Yes. Event. Yeah. So the absolute point, for those who don't know, as we talk about this, is events that happens that cannot be changed. Now, in the universe that we seen Doctor Strange play out, the event was for him to get into a crash, hurts his hands, and that puts him on the right path to become Doctor Strange. Well, in this particular universe, the catalyst or the absolute point is his girlfriend dying, Christine Palmer dying in the car accident, or just dying, period. It's her death. It doesn't matter if it's a car accident or not. Her death is the absolute point, because as a catalyst that sends him on his journey to become Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So when he watches her die the first time, like, he's pushed into learning the mystic arts. Yep. And then he follows his same, like, mainline counterpart, like, story, defeating Dormammu and setting up as Sorcerer Supreme in the Sanctum Sanctorum. And then he decides he's going to try and go back in time and stop Christine from dying over and over and over again. Like, there was a car crash from a Lamborghini, like, sending them over the cliff into the river. A truck crashes into them in an intersection. She had some kind of, like, medical emergency when she was dancing with him at the event they were going to. Mm-hmm. She got shot by a robber at a pizza restaurant. A tire blew out while they were driving.
Yep. A gas main blew up when she got stood up.
She stood up. Yeah, he said, fine. Like, if she's gonna die because I'm going with her, we're going to be around her, then I'm gonna go to a bar, and a fire broke out in her building, and then she's gonna drive the car instead of him, and a speeding car hits them, and that is when the Ancient One comes and says, "This is an absolute point. You cannot change this." And he says, "Watch me try."
Oh, yeah. The arrogant Doctor Strange, you can't really tell him anything. What I really loved about this, and I was talking about this with Sam before we actually hit the live button, is that a lot of people don't realize how much like Tony Stark Doctor Strange is. Tony Stark, he's very arrogant, but he backs up his arrogance, through he's an amazing brain, amazing scientist, amazing engineer and stuff. Doctor Strange, on the medical side and the science side, is just as arrogant and confident in his abilities and stuff. And so it really remains to be reasoned that he would be as arrogant when he's trying to get something accomplished. That you can't tell him this can't be done when you introduce the world of mysticism, magic, and everything else and stuff. And so when the Ancient One is trying to reason with him, you see that arrogance displayed and stuff. And so we're gonna see that, because that's true to Doctor Strange's roots. He's very much not the wise wizard that the Gandalf kind of like. Oh, he's a flawed human being who does sometimes gets in his own way and stuff. Not that he's not brilliant, and not that he's not smart, not that he doesn't think about things, and he's a brilliant strategist. It's just that when he wants what he wants, or he believes he can do something, he's going to do it regardless of what you tell him. In fact, telling him no is probably equivalent to calling someone a chicken and making them act. So
But we do find out at the end that the Ancient One knew this.
Correct.
And split the timeline in two.
Yes, correct.
So we have 2 Doctor Stranges in this episode.
Correct. So yes, the Ancient One created a Nexus event that created a variance of Doctor Strange, but the variance existed in the same timeline. So one went back and decided that he's not going to pursue trying to bring her back, but the other one who was consumed, the other part of the Doctor Strange was consumed with bringing her back, and he believed the more magic, whether it's dark magic or not, that he consumes, it's just his issue was he's not powerful yet.
Yeah, well, because he read that in the books. He went to the library and he read it in the books. So then to him, that means I need to consume as much energy from these beings as I can. And they were demonic and cool looking. And I laughed about the gnome. I was like, oh, look at the gnome. Like it was a creepy gnome.
I have a little creepy gnome too. I have a little 49er creepy gnome that looks like that. So I was debating on whether or not I was going to throw it away because that did creep me out there.
No, you can probably get rid of that. That's okay. Did you notice as he absorbed more like darker energy, like his collar started getting pointier and his goatee started getting longer?
Oh yeah, he started taking on those evil characteristic traits and stuff, and little pieces of the creatures and the entities and the spirits and the godlike figures and stuff he was absorbing and stuff. Even the mythical, the Hydra beast, where he couldn't absorb first, but he came back second around after he was absorbed many others, and then he absolutely, absorbed that and took that over.
Let's start with smaller.
Yes, let's go smaller. We'll work our way up from a gnome, and then we'll go bigger and bigger. And he did. And there's some characters I did not recognize. There's a few I've seen, but I have a little background and stuff on. So I'm just gonna take it as just like any other fan who aren't in the comic books. Is just an experience that I don't know. I'm not going to do much research on.
These were beings, and he was absorbing their energy, and they weren't. It wasn't good energy. They were powerful.
Yes.
So then we get to see the Battle of the Stranges because the ancient, the good Sorcerer Supreme. I don't really want to call him good and bad because it was trauma, but. Sees that the world around him is kind of like dissipating and like falling apart. And that's when he gets like a message from the Ancient One, who was dead at this point in the timeline, saying that there's another version of him. And if he doesn't stop him from mastering his plan of trying to bring back Christine, that it's going to destroy their timeline. It's going to destroy their universe. So we get to see a battle of the Stranges.
Absolutely.
That was a long battle.
It was, and I love that. I love the fact that Wong helped the other Doctor Strange out, cast that magical veil and stuff. Yes, so which was really cool to see, and you got to see it in action during the battle and stuff, and you saw the 2 cloaks, the battle of the cloaks and stuff. Which rest in peace, Doctor Strange's cloak, because he did what he did to Thanos, where he wrapped up his hand so he couldn't use his power. Than Thanos, he wrapped up the evil Doctor Strange's hands, and it just he not evil, but that Doctor version was too powerful, and he basically ripped R.I.P. the cloak in half and stuff. And so
so we did see the more pure version of Doctor Strange get absorbed by the other Doctor Strange.
Yes,
and we do see Christine brought back.
Yep,
all but 10 seconds worth.
Oh yeah, and
the entire universe is destroyed.
Yeah, and he turned in when he absorbed the other variants, Doctor Strange into his body, and he became the ultimate, supreme being, and he started, turning into a lot of the different things he's absorbed, all the different monsters. So you see this kind of weird, hideous looking figure thing as he's using his power to bring Christina back to reality.
And Christine is like, no thanks.
Yes, she has a freak out when she sees this version of Doctor Strange, and we see the universe starts to collapse on them. Doctor Strange kind of knows that. He kind of puts out this spell to kind of help create this protective cocoon, I guess is the best way to put that. As the universe starts to collapse, the cocoon starts to shrink more and more, and he's sitting there realizing that he messed up.
And he's apologizing. He's saying, I'm so sorry.
And this is where, and he's so powerful. Let me just say this. He is so powerful. He's able to sense the presence of the Watcher. He had a full-on conversation with the Watcher.
Breaking the third wall and like having that conversation with the Watcher.
Yes.
And saying like, why don't you fix this? Like, I know you, and he's like, I can't. He's like, I'm not going to like interfere in
I'm not God.
I'm not. Well, he says, I like, you knew what was going to happen. Yep. He said, I know what's going to happen. I'm not going to meddle in this.
Nope.
So then we do see Doctor Strange alone, trapped in this tiny little crystal thing in the darkness that used to be his universe.
Correct. Just complete darkness, but we know he's alive because as it ends, that cocoon, that little crystal field and stuff still exists. It was there. It didn't disappear. It didn't just kind of. So he protected himself and whoever else is inside of that little crystal thing. So that's kind of where that episode ended. It ended where I know for a fact that there's a continuation in future episodes. We're gonna see Doctor Strange again. I think it's going to be a nice tie-in. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it in the next, some resemblance or some ramifications of what he did in this next episode after the zombie episode. So yeah, that was the evil Doctor Strange episode and stuff, and it was interesting. I actually absolutely liked it. I like this next one more because it meshes my two favorite genres, comic books and horror. So
Haley will be right there with you, my 5-year-old. I haven't been able to get her to sit down and get into the what ifs with me, but as soon as it was zombies, she was like, oh, the Avengers are zombies? Like, she's like, well, is Sharon Carter a zombie now? Like, what about Wasp? Is she a zombie now? She's a big zombie. And I'm like, oh goodness. I was like, stop talking. I'm trying to watch.
Yes, no, this is my one. Probably so far, this is my favorite episode. Because, like I said, it's the mixing of the two genres that I absolutely love, which is horror and comic books. For
those who don't know, Marvel Zombies is in the comics.
Yes, this is it's ripped straight from the headlines and stuff. It's a Disney-ized version, but it's actually not that Disney-ized. There's some gruesome scenes and some scary scenes and stuff in this, even though it's a cartoon. Ooh, oh wow! I saw two Sams and stuff. So
is it better now?
Oh my God, it's perfect. Yes.
Okay, good. I was saying that the way that Tony Stark looked as a zombie at the beginning, I want a poster of that. Absolutely. Yeah, shout out to the animated artists and stuff because it was really cool. They were on point with this episode. So this episode began with Bruce Banner popping back in to, I think it was Manhattan, and he's like, Thanos is coming, and then there he is. Yeah, nobody's around when he's saying it and stuff, and then he sees Tony Stark come, and he can't Hulk out, which makes me laugh. But then Tony Stark comes, and he thinks Tony Stark is handling it, and he tells Thanos, "Oh, you're in trouble now." No, Tony Stark is a zombie, and he turns Thanos into a zombie. Not Thanos. He didn't turn Thanos into one. No, this was not Thanos, people. This was Ebony Maw. This was the cutscene when they send. I thought he said it was Thanos. No, not Thanos. It was Ebony Maw and is it Grievous? It's the Black Order. So it's the same scene when he comes. Gotcha. Yeah, so when he comes out of the Sanctum Sanctorum, I always butchers that name. Sanctum Sanctorum. Thank you, Sanctum Sanctorum. Because he landed through the window just like he did in Infinity's or saying, "Hey, Thanos is coming." Thanos, and no one's there. No Doctor Strange, no Tony Stark. He's looking around, so he puts on robes and he goes out and he sees the Black Order.
Same
gotcha.
kind of the same scene set up and stuff. And then
Yeah,
that's where he tries to Hulk out. Hulk refuses because he got his butt beat by Thanos. Because that's tracking with what happened in the movie. And then you see
I forgot all about
Iron Man.
that.
Yeah, you see the Iron Man piece, and he comes in to the scenes like, "Oh, you're in trouble now," which I love that line. And then we see Stark is like eating them.
And he's like, "Oh, we don't need to do that."
Yeah. So he pops up his head and boom, we get the zombified Tony Stark and stuff, which freaks out Bruce Banner. And we have, zombified, there's Wong and everyone else. And so this fight scene kind of breaks out, and the Doctor Strange's cloak comes in to aid Bruce Banner and stuff to help out. And I love the part where Wong uses his powers, which gives us an indication that, oh wow, they still have possession of their powers. Still have their powers, yeah.
And they're zombies.
Yes, and so he tries to jump through the portal to bite Bruce Banner, and he's being held back at bay by the cloak, and to the point where when he managed to knock out the little sling ring, and the portal closes and chops off Wong's head. And then he gets, in the most gruesome fashion, we see Stark and all those guys, because Ebony Maw turns into a zombie very quickly.
Right, yeah.
Gets devoured by the flying ants that was sent by the Wasp herself.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And we see Spidey too.
Yes, we see Spider-Man swoops in to pick up and save Dr. Banner, and that's where that kind of scene kind of takes off and ends and stuff. And then they take them back to their hideout, and that's where we find out. Oops! Oh, I'm unplugged. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, there.
So
right.
Let's stop for a second. I want to talk about the parallels between the comics, the zombie comics, and this episode, because I thought it was a super good touch to have Bruce Banner being the first person to spot the zombies, like the first living person in the episode to spot the zombies, because in the comics, like, he goes zombie and he loses the ability to Hulk out. So I thought it was a great touch to have him be the first person to
be encountered with whatever is going on. Yes, absolutely. And it's scary to think. I mean, God, these zombies, they maintain their superhero powers. Yeah. Who wants to live in that world? I mean, so
nope.
But they bring him back to the lair, and you see Spider-Man in very social media TikToker kind of fashion talks about the rules of kind of like Zombieland, the rules of surviving this zombie apocalypse. And we have no other than Happy Hogan, who's being the demonstrator of how do you survive zombies and everything, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, it was funny. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen Happy actually in a little while take a more proactive role and stuff. So that was kind of cool to see. I
was very irritated by those scenes, though.
Really? Would you have done something different with the rules and stuff, or was it just?
No, I mean, it was just Spidey.
You love Spider-Man.
No, actually, he irritated me a lot in this episode. I'm not gonna lie. And okay, we'll get to it eventually. There was something that he did that I was just like, "This is why I don't like you." We'll get to it though.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
So as they're kind of piecing things together, so you have Sharon Carter and you have Spider-Man, you have Happy Hogan,
Bucky Barnes,
yes, the Winter Soldier and stuff. The Wasp, yes.
Hope Van Dyne.
Yep.
The one from the Dora Milaje came.
Yeah, Okoye.
Okoye.
Yeah. So, because she came from Wakanda because she's looking for the Black Panther. He ended up he was missing and stuff. And so she joined the team in, hopes of, figuring out what happened to T'Challa, which, oh God, we find out later what's happening there and stuff. And so I believe did they get a transmission or there's a signal or something
They got it. Yes, they got a transmission from a shield base in Newark, New Jersey.
Yep.
That they had found a cure. Now, this is what irritated me about Spider-Man.
Bring it.
He's like, yes, everything's saved now. The world can go back to normal. Like that's it. No, you're dumb and naive. Stop. And then, I mean, obviously, Hope is like, that's what we love about you, because like
he's optimistic.
Okay, but optimism can only take you so far if you can't use your dang brain. Sorry. See, I like him, but he's juvenile.
Well, he's like 15, 16 years old.
Well, then who let him be a superhero?
Because he's also has a strength of, to lift, 4,000 pounds, and he can fly through the air. So, yeah.
But why couldn't the spider pick a different person to bite? Why did it have to be a 15-year-old? Because
insects are dumb. They just are. They would have bit anybody.
Literally bit a dumb guy.
I would have took the bite, and and who knows?
I would be happy if you were Spider-Man.
I would crack jokes and probably be just as immature if I can get away with it and stuff. So actually, I would be a villain if I had Spider-Man powers. I already made my peace with that. So, anyway, so they end up going to the shield base, and they realize that it is surrounded by zombies.
Well, first they had to go to the train station.
Yes. Well, they had to get to the train station, right? So
they got to the train station, and Spider-Man and
that's
Happy are working on the train, and I don't remember who else was working on the train with them. But they split up and they're like fighting him off. We see Happy die. Yes. At that point, he becomes a zombie. Who was it that flew in? It was Hawkeye.
Yes, it was Hawkeye. That's right. I forgot about that. Yep. Yeah. So Hawkeye flew in, and then he shot an arrow through. He shot Happy, and then he shot Agent Carter, and was coming to finish her off. And I'm trying to think.
She used Happy's Blam glove.
Yes, right. Blam.
Blam. Did you just say Blam?
Did you? Yeah.
Blam.
I would too if I had Tony Stark's Blam glove.
And I literally said, if she doesn't say Blam when she uses that glove, I'm going to be so mad. But she did.
Yes.
She did.
So, yes.
Only to die a few minutes later.
Yes, unfortunately. Yes, so she was in the car. They got it to go. And then it was Captain America who took her out.
I thought that was ironic. I was like, he cannot stay away from these Carter women.
No,
zombie or not.
Not at all. So he took her out, and then here comes Bucky Barnes to the rescue to cut Captain down to his prime, chopped him in half with his own shield. Love when he threw the shield, he caught it, did the little reverse swing, which we saw him do before. He handles Captain's shield very, very well. Chopped him in half, and that was the end of Steve Rogers, right then and there and stuff. And then he walks over and he takes the shield for himself because Falcon is no longer right, and so he's the next person in line. So the shield should be Bucky's. So they managed to get out to Jersey, correct? And they realized that the compound is surrounded by zombies, and so that's where Hope decides that
Hope had already been bitten too, or she wasn't bitten. In the fight. She had a cut. Yeah.
Yes, she was cut. So they weren't sure how long, or she wasn't. She knew the writing was on the wall and stuff, and how long that was going to last. And so
that's when she had that conversation about optimism with Spidey, how he's always smiling even through everything awful that he's been through.
That was a great interaction and stuff. You didn't say, no feelings. She has a dark heart there.
Just for Spider-Man.
So she decided to use her power. She went big. She went Goliath, and she carried the remainder of the team through the zombies, kicking them like they were just like ants and stuff, and dropped them off on the other side of the barrier. Meanwhile, the zombies were taking their toll and she was changing and dying anyway, and so they ended up breaking through her shield and just attacking her, and she got taken down. So she sacrificed her life to make sure that they were able to get into the Avenger compound.
I wish she would have shrunk down.
What's that?
She would have shrunk down after, because I knew what was coming. I knew when they left that she was going to be this big giant Goliath zombie.
Yeah,
now.
I saw that coming too.
I saw that coming.
But I was here for it. I wanted to see that.
So we didn't know why the zombies weren't crossing the gate.
Nope.
Until we get inside and see none other than Vision.
You see Vision.
Vision.
Who is not a zombie, who can't be a zombie because
he has no brain. He's got no brain matter.
He can't be bitten. You can't bite through his vibranium skin anyway to infect him. He's impervious to disease, which is what is the whole reason for all of the zombies to happen anyway. So I think we get the backstory right before this part where where Hank Pym, he goes looking for his wife in the quantum
Janet
realm.
Van Dyne, yeah.
Yes, and then she's
a zombie. She's infected.
Be a zombie and infects him, and then he ends up jumping through the quantum realm to come out, and we see him with Ant-Man, and he attacks Ant-Man, and then it kind of cuts, the scene from there and stuff. So we assume Ant-Man that's how he got killed, and Hope escaped. So
we walk in and Vision is started. I'm glad you added that part about Ant-Man because that's important for this next part. We walk in and Vision is there and he's explaining everything, but there's also Scott Lang's head in a jar, very Futurama style. But also Janet Van Dyne's head was put into a jar in the comics.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Well, I think in the comic, I'll talk about what happens more in the comics after we introduce where someone else is in this part here. But he says that, the Mind Stone is what is stopping it. The Mind Stone's the answer to fix everything, but it's not powered enough right now. They need to be able to amplify it. So they're not going to be able to do it there. And then Bucky Barnes decides to go off on an adventure. Yes. And he finds T'Challa on a table and dead bodies around him. And in that instant, I said, oh, boy.
Yep. Yeah. His leg's missing. And so it's evidently looks like he's a food source for somebody or something. And boy, was he ever. So we see the Scarlet Witch.
Is a zombie.
The zombified. Oh, you think the Scarlet Witch was bad enough? A zombified Scarlet Witch is, that's nightmare right there. You can make a whole horror movie based off of that alone.
Yes. So I liked the parallels here to WandaVision and how we always said when we were we saw Vision say he was disgraced, it was a disgrace for Wanda to be doing what she was doing in WandaVision. Yep. But now it's kind of if she was the one to go first, he kind of would have done the same thing.
Yep.
But he didn't completely lose his moral compass because he did make it right in the end. But he was literally luring humans there to be flesh for her to eat. So the parallels that I was and Bucky does get T'Challa out of there and stuff. But the parallels that I was making to the comics earlier. So in the comics, T'Challa is still a food source. He is still a food source, and he's there. But after, I can't remember what exactly happens, but I know that Janet's head gets chopped off, and then T'Challa grabs her head, and he takes it, and then that's how they find the cure. So it ends up being Janet Van Dyne's head in the glass jar instead of Scott Lang's, where Vision kind of used Scott Lang as the cure, his head as the cure. So I did like the parallels there too, and how they were tying everybody in together.
So we go to, there's the Scarlet Witch and the fight scene and stuff, and I'm trying to think who does she take out before they make it outside? The Vision, I think Vision stops her, right? Or
Vision, yeah. Vision takes out his Mind Stone.
That's right.
And passes it over. Can't remember. She's fighting with Bucky, I think. I can't remember exactly. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's fighting somebody.
Yep.
They're fighting. And then Vision tells them like where the jet is to get out. So they're going to it. And
they're being surrounded by the zombies are breaking the barrier and being surrounded by zombies. And this is where
because Vision took the Mind Stone out.
Yep. And this is where Bruce Banner kind of tries to make an agreement with Hulk, and it works, and he hulks out. And he starts beating the crap out of the zombies, so they kind of give them some fodder to escape. And it end up to see Bucky, ends up dying. Hulk gets consumed. Only people who makes it out on that jet is we have T'Challa, Peter Parker, and the head of Scott Lang saying thank you. So they're heading back to Wakanda while Scott Lang tells a bevy of dad jokes while he was.
He says that's how he copes.
Yes, absolutely. And
we did see them flying, we did see them flying away, and that's where we saw, the giant Goliath zombie wasp trying to pull them down. Yep.
And then T'Challa hits the afterburners to, fry the remains of the zombie Hope dying, and then they take off and they're heading back towards Wakanda and stuff. So I'm trying to remember. I think Okoye dies by the Scarlet Witch's hands too, right?
I can't remember.
I believe that's how she dies, trying to save T'Challa as well too. So yeah, there's a lot of people who just absolutely dies in this.
Well, they don't die. They become undead.
They get converted to the undead and stuff. And so
Vision's the only one that actually died.
Yes, true. He sacrificed himself again. I think he was just made to be a sacrifice. That's how that works for him. Yeah. So yeah.
I remembered the story. So Hank Pym was keeping T'Challa
to feed his kids, right?
To feed himself. And then Janet comes in, who is Hank Pym's wife, and is like irate about that. So he ends up off with her head. Mm-hmm. And then T'Challa finds it as he's escaping and takes it with him.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was something to do with Fantastic Four. I haven't read those comics in a while and stuff, but I love them. They're gory. They're really, really, they go into some details and they're graphic and stuff. So, like I said, there's kids getting eaten, and body parts that are becoming missing and being fed on and everything else and stuff. They really took their toll. It's a good if you like that kind of stuff, then I absolutely recommend you do the Marvel Zombie series and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So with that, it ends with them, on the jet heading off to Wakanda. And again, I have to believe that, towards the later episodes of What If, we're going to see some kind of culmination, some kind of inter world universe mixing and stuff, hopefully. And because I don't want to see it end this way and stuff. So yeah, so we'll see what happens, to be continued and stuff with that. Do you know what's I didn't get a chance to check it out. I was going to see what's this Wednesday's episode. Are we on episode 6? That's coming up. What If? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to see which one is this one that's coming up. I think this is the one with Killmonger in it, right? Yeah. This is the one with Killmonger. So yeah, they Bam Smack Pow. What is the 6th episode? So, yep, I haven't watched the trailer for that one, but it looks like it definitely has something to do with Killmonger in it. So I'm assuming they're going to go back to Tony Stark, where he possibly gets saved by Killmonger and maybe help him out or something. So we'll see what that looks like, and then we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks and stuff, and we'll have some more things to talk about. We'll talk about talk briefly about the Spider-Man trailer and stuff, and how excited about that is, and how they purposely let some things off, which they should, because you should only reveal the really cool stuff in the theaters. That's how I always think trailers should be. Don't tell the whole story in the trailer. So I'm glad they left some things off, and I hope they continue to do so when they make more trailers for Spider-Man, which I know Sam loves. Absolutely. But I'm excited for it. So we'll talk about that more, and we'll also work on making sure we can reassemble our crew and stuff. Right now, we just have to kind of just be patient in this COVID times. A lot of us are working, trying to maintain the status quo, and so really, I shout out to our crew who's out there in the front lines doing their thing and stuff. Those who can't make it because of other obligations and stuff, we miss you guys and stuff, and we'll work on getting you guys some more guests. So it's not just the Sam and Blerd Hulk show, even though we are a dynamic duo.
Yes, we are.
If Fantastic Four was a thing, then we're the Fantastic Two. So anyway, with that, those are the 2 episodes that we got to talk about and stuff, and
that's all we've got for the Marvel Tribe tonight.
Yes. So we don't have a sign off and stuff. We should have a proper.
We should get a sign off, but for right now, we can tell everybody to join us on Wednesday nights on Walt's Apartment Podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll talk more there.
It's live, so check us out on Facebook. If you can't, check us out on the replay on the podcast on your favorite streaming app. So, and just make sure you rate us. If you haven't rated us, definitely please take the time. We appreciate it. It's a few minutes, few seconds actually out of your day, busy schedule.
And
but
it helps get us out to different audiences.
It does. It helps pay the bills, kind of ish, maybe.
I wish somebody was paying my bills.
Me too.
All right. I think that's all we have for tonight. And we will see you guys next time on the Marvel Tribe.